this demonstration, we're going to show how form tools have now been added to 5-axis milling. So let's go ahead and get started. You can see that I have some geometry up on the screen now. This is a representation of a half profile of the tool that I want to make, a form tool. So we would take this and spin it around the y-axis here to create that tool, which I'll do in just a minute. I do want you to take note of the fact that we do have a contact point specified, x equals 0.5, y equals 0.75, and z of 0. So kind of keep those numbers in mind because we'll be using those later on. But let's go ahead and start by creating a form tool. And since I have a 2D profile, I will be making a 2D form tool in this case. So to do that, I simply pick the geometry, hit the apply button, and you can see in this window here that I now have a form tool defined. Okay, so that's what we're going to go ahead and use. Let's go and drag this down and create a 5-axis milling process. Okay, and what I want to do is we're going to do a project curves 5-axis milling toolpath. Okay, and the part we want to use is actually in the body bag right now, so let's pull that out. And let's start by selecting the projection curves. And you notice I do have edge selection on, so I'll pick 1, 2 for the curves. And then we want to pick the drive surfaces that we're going to drive against. So that will be this surface and that surface there. Okay. And let's go ahead and I want to reset some things because we're going to take this one step at a time. And let's generate the toolpath. Okay, so we have our first toolpath. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like by going into OpSim. And I'll step through this. Okay, we can see one thing off the bat that's wrong is we're going to want to put a round on top of here. And in fact, let me go to here just to show this. So I'm showing you the finished part. So we want to put the round here. So this tool should be 90 degrees from where it is right now. That's one thing we have to solve right off the start. So let's put in a 90-degree tilt angle here and regenerate it. And let's go into OpSim again. Okay, the orientation's right, but it's going up against this face. We actually want it to be farther down. Now remember that contact point. That distance was 0.75. So we need to shift along the y-axis of the tool, which is this axis here. We need to shift down 3/4 of an inch in order to correct that. Okay, so let's take care of that. This is where the new part comes in. In version 14, we've introduced form tools, and this tool contact point and orientation will only show up if you're using form tools. So I'm going to say a user-defined shift. Let's put in at 0.75. And I'm also going to go ahead and change the direction to X. What that means is when I created the form tool, it was centered at X0, okay, with the y-axis being rotation. That's all that is saying. So that's a standard way of making a form tool. Okay, so we've got that done. Let's go ahead and regenerate the toolpath. And once again, let's OpSim this to see what we have. Okay, the orientation's right. It's looking good in the Y, but you can see it's buried too deep. Okay, you may recall from that contact point that in terms of X, relative to the tool, which is this direction, that was 0.5. So we need to shift that up 0.5 in order to get this correct. So let's open the process once more. Go into the tool contact point and orientation, and let's add in that value and redo. Let's OpSim once more. Okay, great. It's looking pretty good, except that we kind of crashed into it. We need to come in from the side and then lead in and lead out. So once more, let's open up the process. Let's look at the surface paths here. And there's something called extend trim, which I'll turn on and say, okay, I want to extend out, let's say 100% of the tool diameter. And let's regenerate. And let's OpSim. So we can see that we're clear of the part, and then it will lead in and go along here. And in fact, let's see it actually removing the material now. And we also have a lead out on the other side so it doesn't crash. And there's our completed toolpath. So this is showing how form tools, both 3D and 2D form tools, are now supported by 5-axis milling.